Welcome to Sports Back Talk with Boley and Ringer, and wow.
Yeah, I guess that's
I don't
the
know
word.
what to say. It's about
wow and holy.
Yeah, and holy weather. 22 hours later, Mike, and I still think maybe we I don't know. It's shocking to see what we saw.
Yeah, today was a holiday, Martin Luther King holiday for me and for many people, and I had the NFL Network on from about 8 o'clock to noon today, and I bet I seen that play upwards of 50, 60 times.
And did it get tiring?
No, I could just imagine being a New Orleans Saints fan and how they feel and how many times they've had to watch it, because it seems like when you don't like it, you have to see it a lot more than when you do like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
So, I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event. It's never happened before. A game-winning touchdown at the end of a postseason game like that. It's never happened with the clock running out. There's been field goals, but never a touchdown. And
so the one Drew Pearson did to the Vikings in 1975 was not with time.
There was still time on the clock.
Time left.
Yeah. So that's we made history again, and this time on the
good side.
On the good side for the first time. And is it karma? Is it, like my brother Gerald said, as we're running around his house, there's about 12 or 15 of us there, and I'm hugging everybody. Little babies all the way up to brothers and nephews and aunts and uncles, and yeah, it was quite a deal.
Eli and I were sitting there watching it by ourselves, and when they scored, I stood up and started screaming, and all Eli could say was, "Dad, you need to stop yelling. Stop yelling." And I'd yell again, and stop yelling. No, I got to yell again because this is.
So Eli didn't understand
Eli will not
what
understand.
happened in his life.
He could not understand, and how he'll never remember this, that it happened.
Well, knowing Eli, he's 3, right?
Yeah.
So he's never had to go through any of the misery.
No.
The 09, the 98, all the 4 Super Bowls.
No.
So Eli's living a charmed life right now.
He's got it all going on.
He was here when the greatest event in Vikings history happened.
So I'll ask you this question. I'll lead into it maybe this way. Did the right team win that football game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
The right team, the better team won the football.
Okay, that's kind of where I'm going.
I think the Vikings had the better team, 17-0. Case made that blunderous backup play. That's why he's a backup quarterback.
On your tweet, we're going to get to that.
That interception he threw, that's what got New Orleans in the game. Had nothing to do with New Orleans' first touch, and it was that blunderous move. All of a sudden, the Vikings' defense are on their heels instead of their toes. They're waiting instead of attacking, and the game changed. Now, the Vikings dominated that game for how many minutes of the game?
60.
I'd say 55 minutes of that game. What do you got a question?
I do. I have one question. They made him kick the point after.
Yeah.
Now, you were saying this is the first time this has ever happened where a game went on.
Yeah.
Why did they have that rule in place? And is it possible a person could block the point after and come down and score?
They could get a 2-point conversion on that.
Yeah, if it went down.
Not in the NFL, they can't.
Yes.
In the NFL, they can
Yes.
now?
Yeah.
But 2 points, I don't think was going to make any.
No, it would have been 29. What the big significant deal was, Woody, is the line was 5.
Oh,
The Vikings were favored by 5.
gotcha.
Okay, and I know their spreads went 5.5, 4.5, anywhere from that, all in Vegas. Most of the people.
That'd be a concern in the NFL.
Indirectly.
I don't know if you heard the question, but the question was where the line was at, and then Woody said, should that matter to the NFL?
Indirectly.
Indirectly, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is what keeps.
The thing is I don't know if you know anything about parlays. Parlays, you bet like 3, 4, 5 games at once. Okay? And if you win all 5 games, you win a big chunk. So if you put $10 down, you could win $500.
In other words, yeah.
Yes.
Let's say the ball squirted out of Keenum's hand way to the right.
Yeah.
And the defender took it down unchallenged.
Then New Orleans would have covered.
Then they'd have got
Well, I
it.
guess what I'm saying is then suspicion would have been on.
Suspicion would have been on. You know, there's always conspiracy theorists. I think I overheard you guys kind of talking some mumbo jumbo here as I walked in, and about what the defensive player could have done, and we'll get to that too. But the line was 5, and in a parlay, if you tie a bet, you lose the bet. But all the people that bet straight up, New Orleans or the Vikings, they got their money back, so they didn't lose on an even bet.
We weren't, by the way, we weren't questioning what happened. It was damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yes, yes,
If you got him, it was interference.
Yeah.
Way, you know, but I am surprised it wasn't something way back by the end zone.
for
For New Orleans, I think you're saying
Oh,
that there wasn't somebody
yeah.
standing on the goal line.
that's a great point.
You know, I think Woody, if somebody would have been, if the Vikings would have been throwing it for the end zone, I think we would have seen that. But I don't think
They were defending against the field goal.
They were defending against the field goal because with 10 seconds left, I think that's what there was, right?
Yeah.
10. That they were thinking, all right, they're going to try to get it to the 40 or the 35-yard line, which was where about the ball ended up. And they were going to say, all right, we're going to defend and try to break that up. And yeah, they weren't. I don't think 6 was in the Vikings thought pattern.
No.
And it definitely was not in the New Orleans thought pattern. That 6 was even a possibility.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, I mean, I would have thought that there would have been a guy way back there. Having said that, our coaches made a very safe call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Diggsy, I mean, Stefan Diggs,
Yeah.
if you know him.
Diggsy, that's your buddy. Yeah.
that's my buddy. He caught it. He was surprised as anybody when he turned around.
Did you think he stepped out of bounds when you first saw him turn and spin for the end zone? Did you think he was or did step out of bounds?
Well, growing up the way I did and seeing all the stuff I've seen, yeah.
Yes.
You
Okay.
know,
Thank you.
I was worried that once he was going down that he would just take a right and just go out of bounds thinking they had time left to kick a field goal, which he did.
My calculus kids this morning were worried that he celebrated too soon, that he put the ball out like this, and that he was going to drop it. They asked me if I was freaking out as a coach.
Yeah.
That he put the ball out, and what are you doing? I think he knew there was nobody behind him. He was watching himself on the TV. He knew there was nobody there, but
Yeah. Well, I spent the last minute and a half outside. We were at my brother Jer's, and I guess if I was ever going to start smoking, last night would have been the night I would have, because I didn't have anything to do while I was walking around out there. I said, geez, I might as well start smoking, light up a dart, and have something to do while I'm out there. And I just walked around and paced because I knew what was happening. And
It's probably the most nervous I've been watching a football game in years, I have to admit.
yeah, and that's why I went outside.
Most nervous I've been. My stomach was in knots. That just doesn't happen. So, do you want to talk about the play? And,
In general, yeah. You
Well,
go ahead and you kind of explain what happened.
Well, to me, when I watched it live, I was kind of like, how come the cornerback for New Orleans, can't think of his name right now, how come he didn't hit him? Because it looked like to me like he whiffed.
Crowley or
43, whatever his name is.
43, it's like Harrison or...
Yeah, Harrison, I think that sounds right. Anyway, when he missed, I was like, oh, he whiffed. And then, of course, they went and showed it in slow motion, and they started talking about it on ESPN that he had to make the decision not to hit Diggs too soon. Otherwise, he was going to get a pass interference call at the 35-yard line, which was going to line the Vikings up for a 52, 53-yard field goal. He made a split-second decision in his mind that I can't get the pass interference call. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to see what happens. And then he got too close. And then, it was at that point he had to say, well, I sure hope he drops the ball because it was a catchable ball. Let's hope he misses it. And when by the time it was over, he couldn't do anything. It was, so I think in hindsight, I think his reactions were right. Don't take the pass interference penalty because that's worse. And then you hope that he drops it, and I don't know.
Where was the weak side safety on that? Because 43 is the safety on that side on the left. Him and Crowley.
You're saying who was on the back side?
Well, I know Lattimore was over. He's the corner on the right-hand side.
Okay, so I'm thinking about the play
Covering Thielen.
because they had they somewhere along the way they had the big up top camera, the one that Jaws uses when he's talking about football games, and you could see the whole field, and you could see on the near side where Diggs caught the ball, there was a guy in number 43 way back.
Yes.
I would assume that on the far side of the field they had something very similar to that.
Yep.
So when Diggs caught that ball on the opposite sideline, there was a guy standing probably on the 40-yard line on the other side.
And that would have been Thielen over on the other side with Lattimore.
Okay, and because somebody came wide open. I don't know if you remember the play, but when he ran into the middle of the field, and I thought that was Thielen, and I don't know that for sure, but somebody ran into the middle of the field at the 40-yard line and was waiting for the ball. He had his hands like this, putting his hands up. If you ever get a chance to go back, he was so wide open, and I'm like, how do you not take that? But if you don't get in the end zone,
that's the middle of the field. Yeah, you're dead.
You're done. So they weren't even worried about him. And then Diggs came across and came open. It was, but I'll tell you what, if they had hit that guy at the 40-yard line, I'm not so sure that he couldn't have made some type of pattern where he could have gotten to the end zone and possibly scored as well. So it was an interesting ball game. It had a lot of
everything meant to happen on it.
How many seconds were left when the ball was caught?
I want to say 4 when
Four
the
to
ball was
five.
caught.
4 to 5.
Yeah.
There was 10 seconds at the snap. So I would say, 5, closer to 5-ish when he caught it. So he would have had time to get out of bounds.
I would have thought that would have been his first inclination. Catch the ball, step out of bounds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it might have been, but when he spun, and I think he was thinking probably exactly that, and then he just
looked
he
ahead
looked up, and there
what's
wasn't anything but green and purple in front of him, and wow. What was
crazy?
You agree the cornerback made the right decision?
Well, no, I don't.
You think he should have taken the pass interference call?
You got to be aware of where everybody's at. What's better? We got to tackle him in bounds, so he should have been protecting that sideline and just let him catch the ball and tackle.
So he got there too soon, and he should have
he should have hesitated, waited, let him catch the ball, and just force him to the inside of the football field.
Yeah.
Okay, easier said than done.
Yep.
I give the guy credit, 43. The guy, and I said this as a tweet. Mark Williams. He sat out of Utah, second-round pick. They picked Lattimore in the first round and Williams in the second round, 2 defensive backs who both started and played, which is pretty impressive. He sat and answered questions from the media for a good half hour after the game. Answered them all. Said it was my fault. He said, I'm coming back next year. I hope I learned from my mistakes. If I haven't learned my mistakes, I don't belong to be playing out here in the NFL. I mean,
that's owning up right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him all the credit in the world.
So what did he say he should have done differently? I'll ask.
He didn't really say. He basically said,
I screwed up?
Yeah, I screwed up.
I couldn't do it.
He said, I thought about the pass interference, and that's why I did what I did. There was, like I said, the best alternative would have been just stand there, wait for him to catch it, and then hit him. But that's not football.
No.
Football, you're taught to attack that receiver and hit him. Okay? It isn't wait for him to catch the ball and then hit him.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So instincts are going to take over before, what do you say, your head?
Yeah.
And it was a perfectly, the coach Zimmer was saying we work on that all year round. Every practice we put a good 20 minutes to a half hour into running plays to get as far as we can so we can kick that game-winning field goal. He said, now, that's not designed to go for a touchdown, but it is designed to get out of bounds and kick a field goal, and very fortunate. We'll never see it again. We'll just, maybe we will. I mean, it's crazy, and it's so fun to be on the right side of something like that for once.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Close to the end of the game was that play when Franco Harris, snatched that ball.
The Immaculate Conception, reception, excuse me, not conception, reception.
What was that?
What was that?
How close to the end of the game was that?
I believe that when he scored, there was 1 second left.
Yeah, there was time left. I remember that.
I believe 1 second left.
It was Frenchie Fuqua was the intended receiver, and they said that he touched the ball. And if that was the case, that time the ball should have been incomplete.
Correct.
Now, it would have went off a defensive player, and then to Franco Harris, that was good. But they didn't have replays. You know, they didn't have instant replays back then. You couldn't challenge a play. I mean, I'm so sick of these challenges. I said that yesterday. Why does a team get 2 challenges? You get 1. If you don't, if they're right on it, they get that one back. You don't get. I mean, takes time away from the game. It changes momentum of the game, and also you got to sit there and wait. And then if they don't get the first one, who cares? We got another one, right?
Yeah.
Give them 1, and then they won't use them so
Liberally. And
liberally.
So
now I heard there was conspiracy there.
oh goodness.
In the New Orleans Saints war room or up there in their booth, they never had a replay thing that was working. Did you hear that?
Oh boy.
Yeah. And everybody, Peyton was mentioning that, and everybody's like, yeah, we really care, Peyton. What'd you think of the hit Michael Thomas put on Zendale?
I thought it was intentional.
Well, silent there for a while.
I thought it was intentional.
So did I.
I thought the guy who threw the flag was right. I don't understand how that is not. If a defensive player on a play is running sideways and somebody comes and decleats him like that, it's a penalty.
And the flag was thrown.
And the flag was thrown. That's why the hesitation, because I had to make sure I controlled my energies on that. Because to me,
Well, me and my brother didn't.
I didn't control it then last night, but I
okay.
want to control it now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to go off with a roll.
I think
of
my brother
X-Files.
said, I bet he said it 8 times. Michael, wasn't there a flag on that? Yes, Jer. Michael, there was a flag on that. I said, yes, Jer. I'm well aware. I saw it. There was a flag on that. And then about 5 seconds later, he says it again. And Patty says, Mike, does Gerald need another beer? I said, kind of looks like it.
Is he having a stroke or something?
He was losing it, and the reason I think it was an intentional because he lowered his shoulder on him.
Huh?
Okay, I don't know if you saw
And
that.
I think part of the lowering the shoulder is kind of that instinct because he knew he was going to get hit.
Oh, yeah.
And he was going to have, he was going to have to brace himself.
But he saw him coming.
Oh, yeah.
So he braced himself, lowered it, and boom,
Yeah.
and then goes like this, and then Rhodes is just out of his mind, mad,
Yeah.
because we just lost our safety. Who's
just about cost us
who's
the
played a
game.
heck of a game, by the way.
Yeah.
That was probably his best game, and I don't know who would replace him.
We don't have somebody that you're talking. Well, we had to bring Alexander out to try to play the
Newman, and he
yeah,
replaced Rhodes, which was a disaster. And
Yeah.
Curse, I guess he plays, but
Yeah, it's not a good situation.
it definitely helped New Orleans. Again, that's another reason. And Zimmer said he was disappointed in his defense in the second half. They put no pressure on. Looks
So
like
you still want to stand by your tweet because I want to bring it up.
yeah, I'll stand by anything I
about a second string quarterback, a backup quarterback
Absolutely.
versus Drew Brees.
said. Absolutely.
So Drew Brees can not throw the ball 40 yards down the field, and you still want to defend him?
Drew Brees can throw it for
I don't think he can. You see how far under that one that Zendeo intercepted? How far underthrown that ball was?
He was pressured.
There was no pressure on him. He stepped right up and threw that thing. He's got no arm.
So-
He's old. He's done.
Beginning-
I'll take Case Keenum over Drew Brees.
Beginning of the game, two teams are even. Okay, you're going to take Drew Brees over Case Keenum.
I'm going to take Case over Drew right now. After watching that game yesterday, yes, I want somebody who can throw the ball down the field. I don't want somebody who's 5'11" and can't throw the ball down the field.
Like Eli said last night, Dad, be quiet. Because you don't know what, honestly, I think you've lost your marbles. Case Keenum, who's been a career backup for 7-8 years, versus a Hall of Fame quarterback, Drew Brees, who can read every defense. You give Drew Brees any time in the pocket, and you want to run zone defenses against Drew Brees, he will tear you apart. He's only 5'11" and a half.
Yep.
Okay, and he'll pick you apart. That's why the first half they pressured him, and he had a hard time. As soon as they got a 17-point lead, kind of like, we can lay back now. That's what happened. Then he got his mojo going, and he never missed. I don't think he missed in the second half.
He was pretty good in the second half.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
They should have won the game, Ringer. Now, did the right team win? Yes. Did the better team win? Yes. Okay. But New Orleans still should have won that game based on what happened up until the last 25 seconds.
Okay.
Okay? Case Keenum.
You want to talk about the rest of the NFL?
I will say this. I think they'll let Teddy Bridgewater go, and I think he'll get traded to Miami. Heard some stuff on today about that. And
Teddy's going to be the one traded? And
yeah, he'll be
keep
gone.
Case.
Yeah,
And Bradford.
Bradford's gone, too.
Bradford's gone, too.
No, Case is their quarterback for the next 5 years, 4 years.
I recall a time when Doug Flutie brought his team to the party and they gave him a shadow.
Yeah?
And San Diego actually replaced Breeze. Breeze was in San Diego at the time, and then was traded to New Orleans, and Doug Flutie took over for Drew Brees. Look at that, come full circle, Woody. See, Woody, we all think you're just a fisherman and a real estate guy.
I don't forget that.
You know, there's the little things in your life that just click. Just click.
So what about the rest of the NFL? Well, you want to talk about Jags Steelers at all? I got to watch maybe the last quarter and a half, maybe.
Yeah, like people were saying that the Vikings stole the thunder out of the Jaguars' remarkable win. And that's exactly what happened. The Jaguars all are yapping, saying we're not getting the respect we deserve. Pittsburgh put us down. Who did the Jaguars win in the first game? Buffalo. I don't think they were talking
It was 10-3.
But the NFL was basically saying the sports writers, the Jaguars shouldn't be here. They got a quarterback that's basically probably worse than Case Keenum. and Blake Bortles, and he's been leading them. Quarterbacks don't live on just statistics alone. They lead. They're leaders of that football team, both offensively and the defensive side of the ball sees that, okay? And putting up 45 points against Pittsburgh, you tell me who has the issues, the Pittsburgh defense or the Jacksonville offense? I'd say the Pittsburgh defense. And what a remarkable, fun weekend of football other than Atlanta or the New England Tennessee game. That was kind of stupid. But,
yeah, that was a tough one.
But Jacksonville game was fun. What'd you think about Pittsburgh and Roethlisberger? 470 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Couldn't have been happier.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right.
In fact, I told my daughter who was at the house. I told her, I said, the Vikings game hasn't been played. This was towards the end of the Jacksonville-Pittsburgh game, and I said, I don't know what will make me happier today: Pittsburgh losing or the Vikings winning.
This is before.
This was before the Vikings game.
This is like at breakfast.
This is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon towards the end of the Jacksonville-Pittsburgh game.
Oh, okay.
And it was looking like Jacksonville was going to win. And I told her, I said, I don't know what will make me happier: Pittsburgh losing or the Vikings winning.
So
and
now
I got both.
Now that both has happened, what has made you happier? I don't think you were jumping up. I don't think you were jumping up and down when Jacksonville won.
No.
You were when the Vikings won.
I wanted to call up my brother and my best friend from high school and let him have it, but I didn't. I played the high road. I played up there. I didn't say anything and laugh in their faces like I want to.
No.
But
no. It worked out good for you. It was a good day. Yeah, Woody.
It was a great day on Saturday.
One last question.
Yes.
This is it, then I'm done. Who's that receiver that had those white things on the back of his arms and caught the last touchdown?
Kamara.
We're in New Orleans.
Kamara. Yeah. Kamara is his last name.
Oh, well.
He's a rookie and
he's had a heck of a second half of the year.
He's a dandy player.
Well, they had New Orleans. New Orleans had Adrian Peterson. Remember that the first 3 weeks of the season, and Kamara was basically relegated to third running back. And then they let him play a little bit. They saw what he had. See you later, Adrian. Traded him off to Arizona, and Kamara is going to be a top 5 fantasy pick next year. He's the real deal.
He's the real deal.
He's good.
He is good. There's no doubt about that. He's scary.
Yeah, it's scary good. And New Orleans is in good shape. Breeze is a free agent. Okay, so New Orleans right now has to decide if they're going to sign Drew Brees, and how much is that going to cost them? 15 to 20 million per?
At least.
Are they going to sign him to more than 1 year? I would think Brees would want it. He'd want at least a 2-year
Is that a guy
deal.
that you put the franchise tag on?
You can't.
Can't because he's
been in the NFL too long.
He's been in the, okay.
Brady, same thing. Now,
Okay.
Garoppolo
Right.
Now, and Cousins, you can
do that,
yeah,
too.
and Le'Veon Bell. That was a good, interesting point. Guy brought it up this morning. I thought it was great. I really caught up on some stuff today.
Yeah.
Ringer. Is Le'Veon Bell was complaining coming up to the Jacksonville game about he's not taking a franchise tag. You know,
I'll sit out.
I'll sit out, and I got enough money right now where I can retire. Roethlisberger was saying, I'm not sure if I'm coming back next year. He was saying that this
Yeah.
week also. Okay, they've had the Martavius Bryant issue, you know, with him being suspended. Also, the coach suspended him for one game for, you know, detrimental to the team stuff. And so they've had a lot of issues. Juju Smith getting a one-game suspension. But leading up to that game against Jacksonville, everything was being talked about outside. Todd Haley and his wife got in a fight in a bar downtown Pittsburgh after their January 1st New Year's Eve party.
Okay.
And so lots of outer activity going on in Pittsburgh. And now they're saying Mike Tomlin might not be safe because of some of the questionable calls he made yesterday. Fourth down twice, fourth down in inches twice. One time they passed it, another time they did an end sweep. They asked Roethlisberger, why no quarterback sneak? Well, we haven't done one since 2014. I don't know why we didn't call one.
It was interesting because after the one in the fourth quarter where it was 4th and 1 and they threw long.
Yeah.
Did you see that when he walked over and somebody must have asked him and he went like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I didn't make the play call, but I'm.
But another reporter asked him, well, why can't you call
Check
your
off.
own plays? He's
And-
been in the NFL for what,
he said that he
12
can't-
years?
and did he say-
He said, I can, but I can't. And left it at that, meaning
Wow.
I can, okay, but if I
remember-
don't make it,
You're under the bus.
yeah, you're under the bus. But he threw Todd Haley under the bus. I don't, if they keep Tomlin, Haley's gone.
Okay.
He'll be forced like Malarkey was today. Malarkey was told you got to get rid of this guy or you're gone. He said, I'm not getting rid of him. See you later, Mike Malarkey.
So we got Jacksonville Patriots,
Yeah.
2:00 game on Sunday.
2 o'clock.
Two-
Really?
2:10?
That has to be the first time ever.
2:10. No, that's been the conference championship, so they get
Really?
that one in the evening.
Central Standard
2:10
and 5:40.
and 5:40.
Yes.
That's what time the Vikes play. So
That's in New
we're-
England.
We're sticking with New England.
Everything's out on the East Coast. What's the weather forecast? Anybody got the weather forecast
I
for
know it's
next
supposed to
Sunday?
be 30 here.
50 water.
Oh, okay, so not an
51,
issue.
Billy.
Okay, not an issue unless
Not
there's
issue.
wind.
Okay.
'Cause
So
remember, Case is still a backup quarterback.
yeah. So Philly, the Patriots, no
Yeah,
issues.
we're both sticking.
Okay. And then we're going Vikes or Philly?
We got to go to the Vikes. There's something mysterious going on
There's
in the
something
world.
mysterious. I like that's the
Yeah,
right word
it's,
for it. There's something mysterious.
Yeah, I don't know if anything can stop. My brother mentioned that about 8 times too. He said that like 5 times, and again, Patty had to say, "Really, Gerald?" Jeez. He just overplays things. Gerald does.
Yeah, well,
But it was lots of fun intermingling with family and friends yesterday, and I got a hold of Jimmy Altman and Marie, and Jimmy said, yeah, I was ready to get rid of my DirecTV, get rid of CBS because I hate Aikman and I hate Joe Buck because all they want is New Orleans to win, and we're just going to have the Canadian channel, and we're going to watch a CFL, and that's it. So people were throwing out their TVs because of Joe Buck, and Aikman was terrible.
somebody said he needed to quit dyeing his hair. Who was that?
I said that. You know, being a guy who definitely doesn't dye his hair anymore, I did for like a 2-year period, thinking I was, Mr. Brady from the Brady Bunch.
Hey, there you go.
And I could keep her going, but Joe's hair, that looked kind of funny, funky.
So we're sticking with our picks: Vikes versus Pats.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to go on a limb and give me a score to the Vikes Philly game?
It's going to be low scoring.
Yeah.
I say 14-10.
Ooh, I was going to go 21-17.
That's a fair score.
2017, so maybe right in
It's
there.
a fair score.
Somebody asked me the score yesterday. I got close. I said 34-24.
The Vikings got some things to work on, defensively. And
Sendejo.
Philadelphia will not look at the first half of the Vikings game against New Orleans. They will be looking at the second half. But they don't have Drew Brees either. They got Nick Foles.
And if Sendeo isn't healthy, that's a
big difference,
That makes
so.
a big difference in the ballgame.
Tell you what, a fun weekend of football, and I hope everybody else enjoyed it as much as we did.
Let's talk about the Wild. They
Okay.
got 2 pairs of back-to-backs this week, and they got 6 out of 8 points.
Yeah,
Not happy though from last night, are you?
Well, they lost 2 ties, so basically got a point and a point,
Yep.
which is good. It's better than a loss. But Vancouver's an awful team right here. Just terrible.
Yeah.
And every time we play them, it's kind of like New Jersey Devils in the East. New Jersey's good this year, but the Wild have always had troubles against lesser opponents. And Vancouver, borderline NHL team. I mean, they somehow, how they can come in to Minneapolis or St. Paul and steal a game like that is ridiculous, especially with the Wild taking the lead with, 6-7 minutes left. And then again, for how many times this year, giving up that lead in the third period,
Yeah.
which is absolutely terrible. And they got to fix that because they could be probably up ahead of even Nashville and Winnipeg and St. Louis right now if they would have won half of those games that they gave up in the third
Just come
period.
on through, Woody. Don't worry about it. Just do what you got to do. There you go. Yeah, I got to watch a little bit of last night's game. Of course, I also had the Timberwolves on because they
They're
won
my
their
boys.
They won their 5th straight.
Jimmy Buckets.
I'll tell you,
Wiggins played good.
Wiggins played well, and I thought having Teague back made a big difference there. They just having him back at the controls. Nothing against Tyus Jones. Don't anybody start giving me any grief because Tyus has played well, but having Teague back healthy, he looked pretty good last night. That was some good stuff.
Yeah, and the Wild, they go on their bye week or a little bye, and they get 5 days off, and people are going to Arizona, and some are going to the Caribbean, some are going to Florida. So Dubnik's staying home. He's due to have his 3rd son today or
Okay.
tomorrow, and so he's going to stay there, and I'm sure some other players are probably going to stay with that. It needs some work done on their legs.
Sure. I'm sure you're all jacked about Hockey Day in Minnesota on Saturday.
It's a kind of a fun day. That's the only kind of outdoor hockey I'll watch here on out. I won't ever watch any NHL on outdoor hockey anymore. I'm done with that. But I will watch high school kids. St. Cloud versus St. Cloud, is it?
I don't actually know.
Yeah, it's St. Cloud. The Cathedral, who's one of the top single-A teams in the
And they're taking
state.
on
And they're
Apollo
taking on
or Tech.
probably Apollo Tech that bind, and now they're just called St. Cloud.
Okay.
Not too excited about that one. I thought they could have done better. Maybe have St. Cloud Cathedral play, not Hermantown, anybody but Hermantown in the single A. Maybe Greenway. That would have been kind of intriguing. They
Yeah.
got 2 Division I players, but they schedule these out 2 years in advance.
Yeah.
So anyways, we got girls hockey on that day the same. We got college, St. Cloud. It's going to be the college against Mankato.
That might be right.
Thank God they're not showing the Gophers. They are 1-9-1 or 1-8-1 or 1-8-1.
1-8-1 I think they're last.
Big
No, you're right.
Ten.
1-9-1 I think
That's
it is.
comical.
After their
That's embarrassing. Okay, I think
how will he keep his job?
I don't know how he still has it. That's why he won't sign a 1-year deal. He'll sign 2 to 3 year deals, and he just, how do I put it? I'm sure his passion's still there, but he's milking the system, Ringer. Okay? What is he, 60 years old, I would guess? He's still into it. I mean, he gets mad and passionate on the bench, but they got to replace him. I don't know with who.
Yeah, well, there's the big thing. Who comes in? You talked about Gensel. I think the assistant coach we talked about.
But he's off the tree. I'm not sold on Gensel.
Okay.
He's off the same tree, and I would bring in someone
Brand new?
with some Gopher ties that's coaching somewhere else. And,
Come on through, Woody.
and,
Just come on right through.
I would definitely let Gensel go somewhere else. Gensel should have been trying to get a job somewhere else, my opinion.
So what else we got to talk about? What's out there? The Australian Open started last night. I'm sure you want to talk about that.
Everybody's hurt, injured.
Everybody's hurting. The Americans, I think 5 out of the 5 seeded players of the Americans. Stevens, Venus Williams, Coco Vandeweghe, Isner, and Jack Sock all gone on day 1.
Yeah, not a good showing there, and they lost money. because it costs more money to go all the way over to Australia and back than what they brought home
Yeah,
in
you're
prize
right.
money. And,
You're right about that.
But their sponsors probably pay for all that. I would think at
Some
their,
of it,
at
yeah.
their level of play, they're pretty good, I guess. I saw a lot of pink outfits. Was there a reason for that?
I can't say that for sure. I don't know. I
seen
didn't
at
get
least
to watch much.
I seen at least 3 male players. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but they were, wearing
Rafa Nadal, I would assume, was one of them.
was wearing pink,
Yeah.
and that guy's buff, man.
He's ripped.
I've never seen a
But he's-
fat tennis
But
player.
he's kind of like like Drew Brees on my list right now. I don't want Drew Brees and I don't want Rafa Nadal. I don't like all the crap he does.
You ever watch the senior circuit? They'll have it on. And Johnny Mac's a
Oh,
classic.
he's
But
hilarious,
he's
though.
starting to look like my dad, though. And Johnny's in great shape, and he's my favorite of all time tennis
I can't
players.
imagine why.
Yeah, his tantrums, whatever, that stuff. But he was a magician.
He was. Still is.
The way he handled the wooden racket and the shots he could make, and
Yeah.
the personality. And he used to have the long bushy hair, and now he's running around out there, and he's in good
punch.
shape, but he has that little punch,
Yeah.
and it's kind of funny watching him. But no interest in the Australian out of all the four. Well,
Yeah.
tennis is losing its luster. I mean,
Yeah.
and a lot of it, I think, has to go back to Sampras and that group, is they really weren't, didn't show personality on the tennis
Agassi
court.
did, and then
Yeah,
cleaned up.
Agassi then got in trouble for it.
And then cleaned up.
Yeah, people hated him, and but then he lost his hair, and then
Yeah.
he wasn't as cool then. But the Guillermo Vilases and God,
mean
Vitas
Nastase?
Gerulaitis, and these guys were
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
They were cool.
What else?
I don't know.
Saw the Giants picked up McCutcheon from the Pirates today.
Well, he has to pass a physical, but I don't see a problem there. Why are they getting rid of everybody? Garrett Cole's going to...
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to do enough investigating on it. It surprised me a little bit.
The Buccos, that was good. The Buccos, the Pirates, their fan base can't be happy with what's going on. And
No.
that'd be like the Twins dropping Mauer when...
You were going to get yourself out of that.
I guess dropping Buxton, and
Huh?
not a good fair comparison. We'll just stay away from it. But yeah, lots of action. We had Addison Reed, another reliever, and my two nephews are complaining. They said, "Yeah, okay, we got a good relief staff. Are they gonna
have a starter?
They're gonna have to pitch 6 of the 9 innings the way our starters are looking." And I still think we're all right. I mean, we got 3 number 3s.
Yeah, that's good.
Mahia, borderline 3 or 4, and Gibson's a 4. So, we'll see. Barrios is a borderline 2, more realistic a 3. They're crazy if we think we're going to get Yu Darvish, even though Addison Reed and Yu Darvish's agent are the same. I don't know if that'll play a big factor or not.
Okay.
I hope it does. Darvish, though, didn't have a good finish last year. He was
No, but
pretty average. But everybody else keeps getting better.
Everybody else goes up and down. Everybody's had good times and bad times. You just
Yeah,
gotta do
Astros
what
are the
they-
ones that got Coles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to probably stay out of the sweepstakes for Darvish, and because they got their guy. And baseball coming up here, pitchers and catchers within the next
month?
3 to 4 weeks. So that's always exciting when you hear that. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day, February 2nd, my Darcy's birthday. My brother-in-law Darcy. Yeah, that's his birthday. So we always call Darcy and ask him if he saw his shadow. Darcy says, "I see my shadow every morning, 365 days out of the year."
Oh boy.
But so other than it's just too much, I guess, to really pay attention to a lot of sports when you have that NFL weekend. And that's why it's probably the greatest weekend of the year,
Yeah.
even above the March Madness when the 64 teams start.
Sure. On a Thursday.
And Vegas, I imagine what downtown Minneapolis would have been like last night
Oh.
after that game.
I had some friends and some family that were there, and I can only imagine the conversations that we're going to have when we talk about that, about it all going on. can you imagine if they were playing at home this coming weekend, if Atlanta would have done something?
Yeah, I think we would have been Twin Cities bound. I sat there and I just told my brother, "Gosh, next year when the Vikings are in the playoffs, we're going down to the cities, and even if they're at home or away, the atmosphere of being in the Twin Cities and being in there in an establishment with all these people that you don't know, it's so much fun."
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, my wife doesn't think it's as cool as I do.
Well, yeah. So, anything else?
I don't have anything else. Good job, Bronco girls and boy hockey teams. And you could say something about the girls basketball team, who's looking good as well.
Yeah, they look good. Matter of fact, that's why I'm looking at my clock thinking I got to go because they got
Should be a good game tonight.
They got Esco tonight. Should be a good game. They're going to have their hands full. Esco's 8-6. We're 8-4. They've got a big girl, and that is the big concern. Can we stop her? I think she's 6'1", 6'2".
Is it the 7'3" or
No, it's not.
sister
It's not the Trap. It's not the Trap family. This is a different family, and she's very good right and left-handed. So she's the real deal. The Broncos will have their hands full tonight. It ought to be a dandy.
who they put on her? Emma.
I talked to Coach Jay Boyle today, and I told him, I said, I think you should put two people. I think you should put one in front and one behind her, and make them beat you from the outside. And he said, yeah, that's a possibility. He said, or you can let her have her 18 or 20 and make everybody else beat you.
Wow.
So
Pretty deep.
It's some way to go. So
Any questions out there? Woody asked them all.
all I know is that our good friend Thane over here said that if Carson Wentz was playing, he'd be cheering for the Eagles this weekend.
A lot of
but
people
because
are
he
saying
isn't, he's cheering for the Vikes.
But the better team for next weekend now, the Vikes or the Eagles?
Vikes.
Not even close.
Vikes.
Gonna go with the Vikes?
Yeah.
Vikes are the better team.
What do you think? If Wentz was there, you'd say Eagles.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Because you like your NDSU?
because he's North Dakota.
He's good.
He's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Well, of course, you know my family, very NDSU, and I'm so glad. No, I'm not. How can I say it without?
You're so glad that
I'm
Carson
glad Wentz. I wish he was not playing for other reasons than being injured, but then he would be in trouble. That kid would never be in trouble.
Correct.
But my brother-in-law Terry will actually cheer for the Vikings. He would be like you. If Wentz was playing, he'd be cheering for the Eagles. So that's the kind of power that Carson Wentz has on people. He's such a good person. He is. I mean, gosh, just amazing. And didn't he get in trouble for some stupid thing of shooting some animals? Because that's what he does in South Dakota. And some people got on him for displaying ducks.
I don't know. I've never heard that.
Could have been. I heard
it's
something.
2007 or 2017-18 ringer, and boy, it's
Somebody got to get thrown under the bus for some reason,
yeah,
right?
it's ridiculous. Anyways, don't take us too serious.
Thanks, everybody.